We're going to do nomenclature, systematic naming of organic compounds. And for that, we're going to be using IUPAC rules. IUPAC is the system of rules that we use in organic chemistry to name systematically the compounds. And this stands for International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So we're going to learn what are those rules, and we're going to start naming compounds. We're going to do alkanes, first of all. So, and I'm going to start with an example, and then we will be moving on. So I'm going to draw a line structure of an alkane, right? And we want to give it a name. For that, let's say my first rule, and I'm going to draw it the way I normally do. We're going to be writing from right to left. We're going to see in a minute why. We're going to choose what we call the parent chain. Say the main part of the name of the compound. This is the longest carbon chain in that compound. And right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's the same, 4 carbons. But then there is another step that we're going to do, and that will be identifying substituents. And here, we're going to identify and name. Identify and name the substituents. Later on, we're going to do another step, and that step will be assigning numbers to that chain. And I'm going to move this structure for a little lower. And we're going to see how do we do that. The point here will be assigning the smallest number possible to the substituents, to that location. Lastly, we're going to, one more step, we're going to list those substituents alphabetically. And so far, we're gonna be done for now. But later, we're gonna add a small thing here, and that box is stereochemistry. So that we're gonna do later. For now, we're gonna start naming the basic steps. So when I determine the parent chain, we need to know how to name according to the number of carbons. And when we're naming alkanes, we're going to be using the termination A and E. And we need to use a prefix that indicates the number of carbons. So when I have 1 carbon, my prefix is going to be meth. So the name of the alkane would be methane. So erasing this, if I have an alkane like that, this is methane. So now if I have 2 carbons, the prefix is F. In that plus the suffix, this is ethane. Putting those 2 pieces together. If I have 3, my prefix is prop. And then I add that, so it's going to be, and I'm going to do line structure. 1, 2, 3 carbon. That is propane. And there will be more prefixes, and I'm going to write it over here. So let's rewriting 1 carbon, we say meth. 2 carbon, we say eth. 3, we use prop. 4, we use bute. 5, pent, and hex, and many more, which you can find in your organic textbook. So that, and as we said, the suffix that we're using those prefixes, and we're adding the suffix. That is to the parent chain. And another thing that we're gonna do is identify substituents and name them. So, but when we name the substituents here, for the substituent name, we're gonna add another suffix, which is YL. So, let's go back to the chain. If, say, in my example before, so I have, my longest chain has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. So my parent chain is the longest. Taking into account the number of carbons I see here, butane. So it is some, and I'm going to start writing that to my right side, butane. That is that. Second step, identify substituents. So something that is attached to the main chain. The something is this. It has 1 carbon. So identify and name substituent. My substituent is now meth is my prefix, and I add this. So my substituent is metal. So I have done this. Next step is numbering the chain. And the way that we number the chain is assigning the smallest number possible to the substituent. So I already did one numbering here, and in doing so, my substituent is at carbon 2. But say that I have another, I want to find out if another numbering is can work. Say that I start here, 1, 2, carbon 3, and 4. Notice that if I use the yellow numbers, then the substituent is going to be in carbon 3. So it's best to number with, say, the green, because it will assign a number 2 to the metal. So the whole name, I'm putting that together. Since I don't have several substituents, I'm not using this rule yet. So I'm just going to write down my substituent, but I need to say where it is. So it's going to be 2 methyl butane. Okay? And I started from here. Parent chain, butane, substituent is metal, and I number to assign the smallest number possible. We're going to do more examples on this.